really pleased to have been able to meet up like this, because I think in sub-Saharan Africa, and particularly in South Africa in the last few years, and in Burundi in the Great Lakes region, you're tackling this question of HIV/AIDS with enormous determination and immense imagination, not having the financial resources that there are in some parts of the world. And the things that have struck me, and I'd just be interested in your response and how you tackle it, is three things strike me. One is the importance of equal access, regardless of social status, of wealth, to medical treatment. I think that is absolutely at the heart of any Christian understanding of treatment. The second thing is the huge danger and problem posed by gender-based violence, and particularly in areas of conflict, which, Archbishop, I know that from Burundi, you've experienced in the Great Lakes region, probably worse than anywhere else at all. And the third thing that I suppose is a more sensitive matter, because it comes back to issues of sovereignty and so on, is the importance that there are no groups, and I'm clearly thinking here about the LGBT groups, there are no groups that are afraid to seek treatment. I wondered what your reaction was to that.
I think at the core of the three issues that you've mentioned is the determination from a South African perspective by all sectors of society to make hope tangible. To say, if we lose hope, we are finished. And as such, people have owned the scourge of AIDS and HIV. The young people have said, we will create a situation where there are zero infections or new infections. The disturbing feature, as we've heard yesterday, is the epicenter has shifted to stable couples, so it means there's a lax there, and now the messaging ought to go into that context. But it is true, if we promote homophobic rules and if we encourage conservatism, we will have unintended consequences of the gay and lesbians. But I want to go back to that biblical concept of hope. I think hope in a living God who transcends even pain and the scourge of HIV and AIDS has made people to say, away with stigma, we will test, we will know our status, and we will look after ourselves, and we will tell the others to say, we can attain a generation without AIDS and HIV.
But Archbishop, you've got a much more complex situation.
That's it. But for me, I'll go back to the whole notion of the African family. Whether you talk about HIV or you talk about the gender-based violence, it turns around the notion of the family, not as we understand it of a husband and a wife and children only, but the extended family. So we get it to say that these people who are infected or affected, who are being violated, their rights and dignity is being violated, they are our people. They are our people in the family, in the human family, but also in the African large family. So we should really address the issue as if we were addressing human beings who are being suffering, who are being affected by the whole context of HIV, AIDS, and also human violence. Secondly, is that there is no demarcation of saying them and us, because as the singer said, today it is me, but tomorrow it is you. Today it is your family, tomorrow it will be your family. So that's why we are calling upon the solidarity in two ways. Solidarity of the awareness of those of the families in Africa. Once again, this notion that the child who is suffering, this daughter who is being violated, this young man who is infected, is actually part of our circle. So we are all concerned. And secondly, a solidarity with the international community. Because sometimes they say there is this donor fatigue, where they say we have helped. But HIV and AIDS does not have borders. And so if you look at humanity, it does not have a geographical. So if we are addressing it, we are already addressing the hope, as you say, for the whole of humanity, for a better future, but also for a strong community that can economically produce. So for me, it is a life issue. And the question we say there, for those who think they are not concerned, think that if that daughter, that girl who is being violated, who has met these people in the bush, think if it is your daughter, if it is your wife, if it is your mother or your grandmother even, who is in that situation, what will you do? So that's the call I would like to make at this particular moment, that we are all concerned, whether we have the cases now in our families, or even if we don't, but we are concerned.
I think one other thing that I'm just really interested in is within our society some time back, and I think still certainly within Burundi, I'm less familiar with South Africa, Archbishop, is there is a reluctance to talk about sex in a way that is sufficiently clear to be able to speak very straightforwardly about how you avoid infection, how you prevent infection, how you deal with infection. And I just wondered how you're tackling that, because that is a cultural shift of some significant...
Exactly. There's still a degree of conservatism around sex, but South Africans are starting to break some of those stereotypes, and it is a sexually transmitted disease. Maybe we actually need to name the elephant in the room, and it opens other issues rather than the HIV and AIDS, but the whole issues of sexual awareness, sexual development. But we're still a long way to go, but there's hope, as I said, at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, as you rightly say, I think it is a cultural shift. But for me, I see it on two levels. One, there is the language we use. And as you rightly said, in an African language, there is no word that you can use publicly. But we are trying the terms that we can be using. But another challenge I have found is our doctrinal and confessional approach to the whole issue and what you use to prevent. So I think that's an area that churches and religious bodies should really face the reality. How do you help those who are infected, even within the family? How do we help them to say you can live longer, and even now you can have children who are not infected if you follow the advice of the medical experts. So we are referring them to the medical expertise, and we'll try and work together so that life may be protected.